before we go, we got a new segment on the pod. It's called Villain Spotlight, where we spotlight a certain villain. It could be a comic book villain like Thanos. It could be like a movie villain, like Darth Vader. It could be a real life villain
like Donald Trump.
It could be just, we highlighting villains, bruh. It's the SuperVillain show. We're highlighting villainy. And I thought a good start to that would be because of how the show ended and how great of a character he was. And he basically controls the MCU now. We got the Funko right here. I don't know. Can they see it? Can they see the Funko? We got the Funko right here. We're starting with Loki. Okay. I think they see it. It's good. Okay.
Nigga said stop. Chill, type shit.
Oh yeah, fuck. This is my turn now. So the first villain we are going to spotlight is Loki. I don't even know how to say his last name. Loki
Laufeyson.
I ain't saying that shit, bro.
Yeah.
He says he's Loki's Odin's son before he dies when he has a Tesseract, but whatever.
Loki
Laufeyson. That's how.
Laufeyson.
That's how the TVA talks about him.
Yes, shout out to TVA. The trickster god, the god of mischief,
the god of stories,
all that. Thor's younger stepbrother. So Loki, hold up. So Loki, he's the son of the frost giants, right? And then he was later adopted by Odin, the father of Thor. And his first appearance was in 1949.
That's an old ass nigga.
Old ass nigga, right? His first appearance, it was in a comic.
Looking goofy. Big ass horns, yellow underwear, green tights under, looking goofy.
It was a comic called Venus, Volume 16, Romantic Tales of Fantasy. Definitely have never read this comic for sure. It was from the fucking 40s.
Sheesh.
Old ass nigga. But what are y'all opinions on not even as a villain, but Thor as a character?
Thor as a character?
Loki, I'm sorry.
Thor's cool.
Loki as a character.
I bangs with the Lokis. I mean, clearly MCU made him more like popping than what most people would know him for.
Yeah.
But he has done some really dope shit in the comic books too. He could do some really dope shit. So it's like for comic book reasons, I don't like regular Loki. He has so many other forms that I think it's cooler than just plain Loki.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I bang with Loki. MCU Loki probably the best though, because like that stays traditional as in he is Loki. It's not different versions of him. It's the one constant. Even that is a constant from a different timeline. It's still the same Loki.
What's your favorite variant of Loki?
I like,
if you have one.
Okay, so there's two Lokis I like. There's a female Loki, and there's a kid Loki. All is about the same difference. Ragnarok always happens. When Ragnarok happens, they just get reincarnated. Sometimes Loki comes back as different shit. So female Loki was cool, but it was creepy because he was also like, he was a woman now. Now he's just doing woman shit, which is weird because I knew him. He was a guy. Whatever.
Transgender.
You know me type shit. It's cool.
Yeah, type shit.
2024 type shit.
Caitlyn Jenner type shit.
But Kid Loki was a fucking menace because his power scaling is so off the chart. So he joins the Young Avengers and all that shit, and it's cool because that's him, kind of like how Iron Lad, like the King story with Iron Lad as a kid, he kind of knows he's a villain, so he goes out his way to be a hero. And I just like that story. It's almost pretty much the Loki story, like from the show, if they would have just made him a kid instead of.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that if you look at like all the adaptations of Loki, like outside of like the comics, if you look at like the shows and some video games, I've always seen Loki as kind of like, I know he's like, a trickster, but kind of like a joke a little bit, right? And obviously, he's a real threat. He's very powerful, but his attitude was very like jester-like. like kind of
I
like
got
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Like,
exactly,
type
like
shit,
a little on the cornier side. Whereas I think the MCU really changed the perception of Loki in a good way.
Yeah.
They transformed Loki, and Loki is probably the best character in the MCU, period. Just because of the layers of that character, and that's just like the definition of character development right
I
there.
have some examples, if
Let's
you don't
hear it.
allow me.
Let's
So, in one of the Iron Man movies, Iron Man says to him, he goes, "There is no version in which you come out on top." And he's talking to Loki. And Sylvie in the show says, "This isn't about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's never." She goes along the lines of, "It's never been about you." And Loki says, "I don't want to be alone." He always talks about this throne. I don't think personally he's not the god of mischief. The god of mischief.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even the god.
He's god of like stories.
He's
God
not
of
even the
stories.
god of stories to me either, because the god of stories, at least in the comic books, is an all-powerful being, and he can actually rewrite the history of the entire history of.
Yeah.
Which I think he could,
That's what he became.
He became, yes, but I consider him more of the custodian of the multiverse,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that like he's the one responsible for cleaning shit up if something were to arise, and I think the TVA is going to have to do with that.
Yeah.
But you know, he one of the notable things in the show is Mobius talks to him and he goes, there is no comfort. You just choose your burden. And he also says, one of the hunters, he goes, "You're just trying to make up for all the terrible, awful shit you've done in your life." And then, you know, Sylvie says to him, and these are all just excerpts of the show, and obviously of just the script of you know, Loki, and Sylvie goes, your friends are back where they belong. That's after he brings them back after season 2, and Loki goes, "But without them, where do I belong?" And at the end of the entire show, he goes, "I know what kind of god I need to be." And he's talking to Sylvie before she gets turned into spaghetti.
Yeah.
He goes, "I know what god I need to be for you, for all of us." And he goes out there and he grabs all of the strands, he wraps them around himself, and he takes that seat, he takes that throne. I've talked about it before, but this is my favorite variant of Loki, because it's very much like he's atoning for his sins, and like absolutely nothing will atone for what he's done. And like him fucking around with the Tesseract, even him sacrificing himself. Like I would never thought that Loki in the beginning of the MCU would have done that. He sacrificed himself, you know, Thanos killed him, and then him having a redemption arc, like him even getting that redemption arc, is a very good thing that the MCU did.
Yeah, and I think if you're just talking about MCU Loki, there's a clear story that they like to tell is like Loki can never be too happy.
Yeah.
When he finally like reconciled with his brother and all that, dies. When he finally figures out himself and that he just wants to be loved, he has to be by himself.
Yeah.
But I think the key part that people forget is you needed the Loki you said you don't like before all that. That's what that first Avengers movie was.
Yeah.
It's the haha, I want Thor, I got you. Oh, you can't beat me. It is that obnoxious, corny,
which is very much like a child. That's how a child behaves.
butt of
He was
the
a little more
joke.
toned down though.
But he was the butt of the joke.
He was less like corny and more so like arrogant.
Do you
know what I mean?
What is the most popular scene of that movie?
Oh, the Hulk shit.
He's a joke.
No, I agree with you.
You know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
saying,
Like
in the cartoons, he's more like nasally, more so annoying. I think he's more because I guess the arrogant side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the portrayal of him in general.
More royal.
Yes.
More like snobby.
that's
more snobby.
Yeah, like more royal.
Snobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, royal and
Snobby,
snobby I think is closer to like what I'm trying to think of like an example. Like,
because you're saying like in cartoons he's feel more like a trickster from a Doctor Strange world. Like,
yeah, man, yeah, more like more cartoonish.
Well,
he was a little more serious in this one in the MCU. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Nah, I get what you're saying though. It's more Batman 80s. Well, bam.
Yeah,
I mean, I
Which is
definitely
like,
get you.
it was like for the time, right? For 1949, I guess he had to be.
And that's
way.
usually what they do when they
Right.
do like cartoons of him. They base him off of his older, younger technically, but you know what I mean, like
yes,
80s style where he is more. Everything was more cynical, and Riddler looks stupid, Joker looks stupid, whatever. But just like in the show, like once you started reading his comics and it got around like 1990s and 2000s, and they started wanting to give Loki more stories. He started doing basically the same shit in the shows. Like I remember there's one cartoon. I don't know if you ever watched the Hulk versus Thor.
Are you talking about? I was gonna talk about this. Are you talking about where he kind of like took over Hulk's body?
Yeah, like if you just want to understand, like he's always baseline been mad powerful. Even if he wasn't God of Loki, he can theoretically just take over Thanos' body when Thanos wanted to do the snap and have Thanos do anything he wanted to do with the Infinity Stones. Yeah. If you think about it, as long as he would have understood his power range, like how they do sometimes in the comic books, he is almost unstoppable. His daughter is Hela. So technically, if he dies, his daughter never wants to see him. So he goes right back up to heaven. I mean, right back up to Earth.
To Earth, yeah.
So it's like
Midgard.
Yeah, Midgard. Like, so he can't even die based on the fact that his daughter doesn't like him.
Yeah. So, Johan, when you were mentioning Loki in the show, right? You were mentioning kind of towards like the end of it. And even though I agree with what you were saying, he was more so like a hero in that moment.
Yeah.
He was really a villain.
Yeah, he that's the redemption. It's the face turn.
I get it, but we're talking about villains.
Yeah.
Right?
Talk about that evil shit he done.
I want to talk about the evil shit he did. Like, I remember that's probably one of my favorite moments of Loki in that cartoon where he took over the Hulk's body and was just beating Thor's ass. That shit was crazy. But I just got a couple moments of like the worst shit he's done. Obviously triggering Ragnarok, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. And essentially killing his mother as well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And when he killed who's the dude? Phil Coulson.
Yeah,
that tugged
nasty
a lot of, like,
work.
Yeah, that was
had people for years saying, "How can Phil Coulson come back? How can he come back?"
Facts.
He dead, bro.
In the comics, he kind of ignited the war between the Avengers and the Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
That was all kind of him. He kind of like he made the potion to make if you know who Absorbing Man is.
Mm-hmm, yep.
You know Absorbing Man.
Of course.
He's kind of like one of Thor's like
another dweeb, but a fun dweeb. You know? What I mean?
Yeah. But
because he could like touch Mjolnir. Now he got the whole. You know what I mean? He's nasty with it, low key.
Yeah. He's real resourceful too. Because I remember when he took over the Hulk's body.
Yeah, I was gonna
pick up Mjolnir, right?
Yeah.
Real nasty work. He ended up killing like Kid Loki, I think somehow.
Mm-hmm. He's a nasty guy, man.
Banishing fucking
Is it Hella to Hell?
Yeah, that and I think in the comics, while he was Sylvie, while he was she, I guess, didn't he take over as Lady Sith or something like that?
Yeah, okay, so he wasn't Sylvie, even though Sylvie is a adaptation of female Loki. That's what
he was a female Loki.
He was female Loki, and yeah, he took over. It's actually really fucked up. Like he's done some shit. Especially like female Loki, for me, he was at his peak villainy. Like, he ain't give no fucks, bro. Like I'm a female, man. I'm wilding out. Like,
and he did some petty shit. He used to stab Thor, turn
to a frog,
turn a nigga to a frog. You know what I mean? Obviously, the first Avengers movie fucking invaded New York City, killed a bunch of people. I feel like people gloss over that.
Yeah, he was
working with Thanos at a point. Like,
yeah, he was. Facts. Although we didn't see any talk between. Well, no, he did.
He brought the fucking aliens.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
Yeah, I will say that,
which is beautiful if you think about it. It started with him working with Thanos, and then Thanos snaps his neck.
Crazy. I will say that like Kang, who we'll get into eventually. We don't know if Kang's done or not in the MCU.
Maybe we got to do both of them.
Loki has benefited from the MCU as far as the perception of his character, because like we said, he was more so like a joke. You know what I mean? And now I feel like a lot of people take him a little bit seriously now. And if we're rating him, right? So let's do it this way. Let's go. There's S tier, A, B, C, D, E, F. We'll do it that way.
Okay.
Right. Those are the levels. S tier, God tier villain. So what are we thinking here? Where do we think Loki lands?
If we're putting him just on
all medias. Okay.
Him as a character.
I would still do A tier. I don't want to give no one that S tier.
Yeah, I don't want to give anybody S tier yet. I think that's reserved to when we get more people. I put him in A. I put him low A.
And he would have been lower without the Loki show.
See, I disagree. It's tough because this is the first one. This is where we're laying the foundation.
But also, maybe we're ranking this wrong. We're ranking this after everything hero-wise he started doing.
That's what I'm saying.
We need to rank his villainy.
The part of Loki is kind of him turning into a hero, if you will.
We're ranking the villainy. So his villainy might be low.
Not to say he wasn't a good villain in the MCU. He was. And he was, a good villain in the comics for sure. And the show.
Villain watch is better villains, though.
There's better villains.
He's a B.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm
thinking
on
B
his villain
tier.
shit, he's a B.
I'm thinking.
So how do it go again? So it'll be S,
A, B, C, D, E, F.
I would do C. I'm sorry.
I put him low B.
If we're counting just villainy.
Low B, high C.
Matter of fact, I feel like that's too many levels.
How you want to do it?
Do 5.
We could do 5, yeah.
5.
S, A,
B,
C,
D.
Yeah, that works. We'll do it that way.
And he would be C. I'm sorry, that's real low.
I think if we're doing 5, I'm thinking B or C. I'm thinking middle of the pack. I'm kind of leaning towards C too.
Yeah, I'm saying because I'm okay. I know this is like speaking in the future. I'm looking right here.
Yeah,
I see a couple better.
That's what I'm saying.
Villainy.
That's what I'm saying.
I see another person that's gonna fall for the same Loki thing that I'm gonna say they're high up until we stop thinking about the hero stuff and start about thinking the villain stuff. And I feel like that's gonna also bring him lower. But yeah, I feel like Loki's C just based off his villain because he always loses. It never makes an impact. It's like
I agree with you. We're saying Johan as a character, he's definitely S, especially with the MCU. But if we're just talking as a villain,
yeah.
How many times has Loki been a serious threat?
Maybe once or twice.
Not that many times.
Maybe once or twice.
So, I think you say C, I say C. You said B.
I said low B. He can go into high C if we find something.
Can we agree with C?
I think C's a good one.
Are
you gonna actually put a little?
Yeah.
I think he would be high C.
We'll save all of them.
I think he'd be a high C right now.
Okay.
So let me mark that down. I'll mark that down. I'll say that too.
So putting Loki at a C tier villain. It's the start. At the end of the year.
That was a good point though. I knew you was getting. I was like, yo, villainy wise, you're right. I don't know.
Towards the end of the year, we'll kind of like recap and see where everybody is,
and
then we'll go back to it like end of the year. Maybe we'll change some shit. You know what I mean?
That is true.
Because again, this is the first one. It's tough.
Yep.
So we may have to move him up, maybe move him down.
Yep.
I don't think we'll move him down.
And since we count media, he can technically he could come back and say fuck the world and be a god Loki, a bad god Loki. You don't know.
True.
So
yeah, I think Loki was a good character to start with though.
That was a tricky one. You I feel like you had intentions. You had intentions.
We're talking about we're gonna get to some crazy ass villains.